At this month's meeting, we invited Martin County Emergency Management to come and give their presentation for hurricane preparedness. A lot of us have, been through them, but we have a lot of new owners here that have not been through a hurricane. It's on your bucket list. And Sanja here is going to give a presentation on what Martin County has available for hurricane preparedness.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So thank you for inviting me, and I'm happy to share information, but I really want this to be a question-answer session. Whatever you have questions, just ask. But what I did bring you was our Road to Readiness book. And the reason I passed them out, because I kind of like to go through this a little bit. From my understanding, many of you are new as full-time residents of Florida. Okay, I see one head shaking back there. One head, okay. Have you ever experienced any of our great hurricanes here? Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh wow, boy, you really went back. Has anybody else been part of, doing a hurricane here? Okay. Not here? Or okay, but you have experienced the right here. Oh wow, okay, excellent there. Okay, we have some new people back here. Okay, so basically what I wanted to, in our Road to Readiness handbook here, the reason we developed this was for our community partners here and our residents. Basically, it's just a guide to help you get ready and to prepare. So if anybody can explain to me, why would you prepare for hurricane season and what some of the things you can pair with? Oops, we're laughing. Water, food, medication. Yes. I'm sorry? Safety. Anything else? Flashlights. Okay, I know we're on YouTube, but she did say alcohol. Whatever it takes.
We found out with no electric for 5 days, battery-operated fans. They do have them.
Yes, they do.
Wonderful.
Yes, they do. And on top of that, they also have battery-operated radios. So not only do you have the fans, you have the radios, and I just discovered these light bulbs. They're also operated by battery, and they last for like 48 days or something like that. My mother kind of told me about that. So you put them on this switch, you hang them up like there, boom, you got lights. So you don't need a flashlight, you don't need candles, and I hope no one is still using candles or anything like that. I found them at Amazon. So all this information that I'm sharing with you now, I can send all this to Peggy, like with the website there, so she can share it with everybody here. But those little things like that there, an air mattress. Great thing to have, because if you have no electricity and you're limited on AC space, maybe you want to go somewhere where it's cool and you have nowhere to line up, an air mattress or a lounge chair. So let's talk about the risk in Martin County. Can somebody tell me any of the risk in Martin County besides hurricanes? Flooding. Flooding is a big one here in Martin County. Even though many of your areas, it is not prone to flooding, but it has a tendency to flood here. We're still dealing with what happened in Hope Heights, and that was in 2020, and we're in 2022. You are in the area, you got your little waterway right over here. It does rise, and it does come over. So flooding is another issue here. Another big one would be, anybody travel A1A? That nuclear power plant. Oh, yes, that nuclear power plant over there. So that's another hazard that we have there. Okay, so we got hurricanes, we got flooding, nuclear power plant. Anything else you think of? Tornadoes. If you got hurricanes, you probably have tornadoes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you are aware of many of your risks here in Martin County. So now let's talk about making a plan. How many of you have a plan? No plans, huh? Oh, wow. So this is the section we're going to go on here for what our plans are. So on page 3, when it says create a disaster plan, and I'm going to tell you why that is important. How many of you have family members that are in Florida? A few of you. Your kids are in Florida. No. Are they in other states? So the reason that you really want a plan here, kids want to know where mom and dad is. They also want to make sure mom and dad is safe. If you create a plan, part of your plan would say, notify kids of location, because you may have to go shelter. So if your kids are calling your cell phone, they're looking for you at home here, you may not be here. You may be in a general shelter or a special needs shelter there. Have a plan for you and your spouse. Another thing you need a plan for, how many of you got fur babies? No pets? No pets. I'm sorry? Yes, so no pets. So we're going to skip the pet shelter speech. Okay then. So yes, having a plan, being ready for yourself and your spouse. Part of your plan is also having a go kit. We talked about water, we talked about flashlights, we talked about batteries, we talked about medication, stuff like that there. Cell phones, everybody here has cell phone. Do you have an extra charger? You have an extra charger there. Excellent. How many bags do you think you need to pack when we're talking about a go kit? One per person. This is what I tell my husband and wife teams. Wives, don't pack your husband's bag. I know you want to, but see, there's stuff in there that he wants that you probably don't want him to have in that bag. So, I mean, it could be his little snacks, this, that, whatever. Let him pack his bag, you pack your bag, but everybody needs their own go bag, okay? Because at any given time, you never know. And we're talking about go kits, canned goods, anything there. Everybody still has a can opener, you know, those manual ones there? Because many times we still have, everything's electric now. So, you know, your can openers. The other thing I found out with the radios, there's another one they have, it's the crank radios. You know, you have to kind of put that arm thing in there so you can kind of get your aerobics going on at the same time when you're trying to get that radio to function there. Put that in your go bag as well. Anybody have a NOAA radio? One?
What kind of radio?
NOAA, N-O-A-A?
I know the one that has a little TV on it, yes.
Okay, well, a lot of them, they don't have TV, so the NOAA radio, basically what it does, when something is happening there, it's connecting to the National Weather Service there, and it's giving you updates on the pending storms there. So a lot of them don't have your typical music stations here. This is just specific to hurricanes and stuff like that. So if you don't have a NOAA, N-O-A-A, a weather radio, I would suggest you get one. That can go in your go bag as well. Okay, let's talk about sheltering. Anyone in here has special needs? You need oxygen, you're on a concentrator, anything like that? Anybody know anybody that may be needing those services? Yes? Okay, so what we ask here in Martin County is that you pre-register individuals for a special needs shelter. And when we're talking about special needs shelter, that one is located at Anderson Middle School. If anybody knows where Anderson Middle School is? Yes, no? Okay. Anderson Middle School here is on Atlantic Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get my notes. $7,000 Southeast Atlantic Ridge Drive. Martin County has one special needs shelter here in this county. All the other shelters are general shelters. Now, what's the difference? In the special needs shelters, there's a generator there. In order to, if anybody is on oxygen, need oxygen, concentrators, anything like that there, they're guaranteed to have power. General shelters, there's no guarantee there. If you're in the special needs shelters, there are cots. They are not beds, they are cots at a shelter there. And this is what I tell people. Let a shelter be your last option when you're talking about sheltering. Because you're in a big gymnasium with everybody else. There is no privacy. Okay, so if you have a friend that you can stay with that's in a brick house or something of that nature there, try to go stay with your friends. I don't know how many of you guys ever went camping recently. Slept on a cot. Okay, we got one back there.
In a tent.
Okay, well, we won't give you tents, but The cots, they do sit about 18 inches up off the floor, but they're not comfortable. And with all the noise and everything in there, so again, part of your preparedness is making sure you have other alternatives. But if you must go to the shelter, if you know someone with special needs, have them to register. Inside of our book there, where we talk about sheltering, there is a phone number there, 287-1652. When you call that number, our administrative personnel, they're going to walk them through the process of getting onto the special need registry. And on that registry, what they ask you, do you need transportation? If you say yes, the county will send someone to pick you up and take you to the shelter and bring you back home. But again, if you don't want to be in the shelter, make sure you have an alternative plan. Okay, so I talked a few. Questions?
If you register once for the shelter, do you have to register every year?
Annually, yes, ma'am. Because things change in your life. What? Yes, ma'am. More questions? Oh, you guys are quiet early this morning. Okay. So I brought handouts for you. Up here, hurricane tips. I won't read this here, but the one that really hits my heart, because I've been in this business a long time here, and what I have found out is that a lot of times we have our seniors, a lot of them live alone, and we forget there's no one to help them prepare for hurricane seasons or any type of disaster. So on here, you're going to see where it's highlighted there, and basically it says, help your neighbor prepare. If you are prepared there and you see somebody out there struggling, maybe trying to put up their shutters or something like that there, offer a service if you can. If you know they're going to be alone and they can't help themselves, try to help them as well. Because we're all going to need somebody, especially when it's a time for a disaster there. So this is the only thing that really hits hard to me, because we get calls every day, and the first thing they say, I have no one to help me put up a shutter. I have no one to help me do this. I have no one to help me do that. And that tugs at my heart, because a lot of times we do have seniors that are living alone. And the other issue is we have a lot of them that may be bedridden. The problem is they can't go to a special needs shelter, because that's not a medical shelter. It's just special needs for oxygen and concentrators and stuff like that. So we try to find resources. We contact nursing homes to see, can they go to a nursing home and ride this storm out instead of staying home when they have minimal stuff there at the house there. So if you know somebody, have them contact us, and we'll do our best to try to help them. So that's on this list here, okay? And all of this will be up there. It's also information for special needs, just in case you do know someone. I'm sorry. If you know someone that needs the services, there's an application up here, there's information, and there's a phone number here. Now, do we have questions? COVID restrictions. Well, evidently everybody thinks COVID is over. I don't know why. It's up to you. If we do have a shelter, so if hurricanes happen now, if you choose to walk in there with a mask on, that's going to be your option. You can have your mask on. Are they going to mandate you to have mask on? No, ma'am. Because when the federal government lifts the order, then that takes care of the states and the counties as well. But you still have the option there. As for the separation, because of COVID, and I don't know, most people, 20 feet by 20 feet, that's about all the space you're going to get into a shelter there. That's about the size of a cot. That's all you get there. So it won't be that 6 feet separation between you and the person. You might be touching, so you might want to be friendly with everybody.
What is the average length of time people stay in these shelters?
It depends on the storm itself. Now, it's one thing people need to understand. We do not mandate you to stay in a shelter. We will lock doors when the storm has hit the land. But are we going to make you stay in there? No. But what we do tell you, if you open that door and walk out, then you probably can't get back in. Once that storm has passed this area here, and the sheriff department tells us everything is all clear, you can leave now. We still don't recommend people to leave because you don't know what your area looks like. He's just giving us major roads that we can travel, but we cannot force you to stay in there. And I'm going to tell you what has happened in my pay. Anybody been here in 2004 when we had hurricanes after hurricanes after hurricanes? Yes. It seemed like as soon as you took your shutter down, you had to put them up a week later. Back then, individuals, because I think they was just sick of hurricanes there, they would come to the shelter, and soon as the all clear and they see the winds die down, they left. They went home, only to find out the home was damaged. So they come back to the shelter. But see, once you're gone, you're gone. That shelter is going to eventually close because all of our shelters are located in schools. And we always say, well, we want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. Well, if the shelter's in a school, guess what? We need to get our kids back. We need to get our parents back to working and getting you back to some sense of normalcy. So the shelter has to close. Very few counties have shelters that are not in a school. Yes, ma'am.
I have a two-part question. The first one is if we have to evacuate, how soon will we get a notice to evacuate? And the second part on the shelters, how soon do they open? Like, if you're talking about a senior that needs assistance or help, I mean, is it within 72 hours, 48? Because, you know, once they lock everything down, like you just said, they can't get into that shelter. They can't get out.
Okay, so when a hurricane is coming, generally, the National Weather Service, they're going to give us 120 hours. It's generally 5 days out. And I tell everybody, hurricanes don't sneak up on you. You know when a hurricane is coming, whether you choose to be knowledgeable about it or not. What happens if it's pointing towards Florida, the Division of Emergency Management, there in Tallahassee, that's the agency that's responsible for all of emergency management for all 67 counties in Florida. They start those conversations 4 days out with all 67 counties, because again, what we're trying to determine, where's this hurricane going to land? Martin County, we start planning 120 hours out, because we know we got to get you where you need to go, whether you're going to leave the county or we got to get these shelters open. You're going to be notified at least 48 hours about what's going to happen, because if at 120 hours we tell you hurricane is coming, get prepared, how many guys was here for Dorian, the hurricane that would never come? It sat there. Hurricanes at any given time, it can veer off and go somewhere else. So that's why we try to get as close as possible, but within 24 hours, because we have to get you in a shelter, okay? We don't want you sitting there for a whole day either. So about 12 hours, we have our crew, and it's generally the fire district, and right now we have Marty Bus to help us with this here, to start picking people up. It generally, our last count, it takes 13 hours. We had 192 people on our shelter list. 13 hours to pick everybody up and take them to the shelter. So again, that's what we're looking at, that time frame there. So again, we're going to notify you, and that's why I really wish everybody alert Martin. On this card, it tells you how to sign up for the alerts in Martin County. This is how you're going to get your information, besides on television. How many of you guys still have cable? Or are you doing streaming services? Cable, and some may be streaming. Most of us are using streaming services. We don't have local channels because you choose streaming services, so you're not getting just-in-time information. Alert Martin, we're going to send you that information out as soon as we get it to let you know, start preparing now.
Is that on your phone?
You can, you can text 888-777, and it's going to help you download the whole application here. Okay, so again, you can sign up for alerts. One thing I am going to warn you though, when you do sign up for these alerts here, you also get alerts from the National Weather Service. So when we have pending storms, hail, anything like that, you're going to get notified. Why? Because they ping a cell over your area. We've gotten complaints in the past when individuals have gotten 10 to 12 alerts. And they want to know, why do you keep bothering me? So again, when you sign up for this here, if you don't want to get weather-related alerts, let them know that. Because other than that there, if a cell is right here on this road here, you're going to get pinged until that cell moves past here. So sometimes it is a little bothersome when we do that there, but again, this is how you're going to receive your notification. The web page is constantly updated because a lot of people are monitoring the webs. I don't know about anybody else there, if you're on any of these social media accounts, because personally I am not. And that's how people get information as well. So Peggy, got it.
What is your capacity for this shelter? Once you're, what is the drop dead time that you're gonna lock that door? Like 2 hours before, can somebody get in there?
Yes, ma'am. So again, the Capacity for the shelter is 200 people, and they bring their caretakers. And we ask everybody, if you are registered to be there, bring a caretaker with you for someone to help you out there. We will let you in up until the winds get to the point where we have to lock the door. We start picking up early because, again, the bus transportation there, getting everybody there, getting them settled. But if you're the one, and this has happened, knocking on the door and the winds are so hard there, I mean, somebody will definitely let you into that building there.
Once you're in, if this store run, and they do 24, 36 hours, do you provide water, food, anything?
Food is there, water is there. It's going to be our job to feed you. So again, when they're in the school system, and I don't know if you guys have grandkids and they ever tell you the food is the worst thing in the cafeteria, well, guess what? You'll be eating that food. They have their cafeteria staff that come in. They're preparing the food there. You would definitely have water, you have a hot meal, and you will have snacks. The reason I tell you about your go bags there, some of us have dietary needs there. Bring your own stuff there. We all know anything that's in a can is loaded with sodium and stuff like that, but again, it works for the kids. May not work for our dietary needs and stuff like that, but that's what's available at the schools. Okay, yes ma'am.
Where is our nearest shelter from here? What's our nearest shelter?
So, on my weirdest. So Martin County has 10 shelters. Our primary shelters, we don't open all 10 up. The primary shelter is Jensen Beach High School. That's over there by the mall. Then we have Hidden Oaks Middle School, and that is on the other side of the bridge from you guys. So if you go down the bridge, that's Palm Beach Road, and go down Map Road, Hidden Oaks is on the other side there, so that's your area here. Port Salerno Elementary, Warfield, that's in Indiantown, and Anderson, that's the special needs shelter, and Willoughby Learning Center, that's dedicated to our pet-friendly shelters.
Question on the pet shelter. How do you manage pets? Taking them out?
So the pet shelter is generally manned by our sheriff's department, their animal control unit, and we also have individuals that's helping us there. There are crates. We ask that you bring your pets in your crates, but they have extra crates there. So, you know, I don't know like the big dogs and stuff, how you put them in a crate there, but crates are there for them there. And this is our other problem. Most of our individuals won't shelter without their pets. So they put themselves in harm's way. But a lot of our people that have pets, they need special needs. The only animals allowed in a special needs shelter is a service animal. And there's only 2 service animals, a dog and a miniature horse. And not too many people walk around here with a miniature horse. So it's more or less a dog. Those are the only thing that are allowed in your special needs shelters. Everybody else, they can go to the pet-friendly shelter, but they only allow dogs and cats. So if you have anything beside that there, we ask you to contact the Humane Society. They will also house animals for you. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What kind of information would we receive if we chose to stay in our unit?
In your unit here, we're just going to give you probably the times that the system will land, so the landfall and stuff of that nature. So the alerts there telling you, please be ready. Make sure you have, you know, whatever you need for your supplies for you and your wife. So it's just general information to keep you informed. And definitely when all clear, we're going to try to send another alert. But the thing is with the alert, because we're dependent on cell phones in that line there, so if those towers are down there, we're still trying to get information out there, and it may be through a text, maybe not through a phone call or anything like that there. But it's going to be general information to make sure that you're prepared and you're safe. So even if we do activate our emergency operations centers, we have a community information center. People call throughout the whole time there because they just have information, and you're welcome to call because you may have a question that you're not thinking about now, but at that time there when something is happening, you probably want the information. Just like the bridge. People always call, when is the bridge going to close there? They're going to close that bridge by the time the winds get up to 45 to 50 miles an hour because you shouldn't be traveling at that time anyway, because most of our emergency vehicles are off the road at 50 miles an hour. That is correct. And because I actually live in St. Lucie County, so every day I come to Martin County, the first thing I think of, how many bridges you guys have for this city? And part of being prepared is knowing how to get out of an area as well. So right now, if you're forced to evacuate, which way are you going? How are you going to, which way are you traveling? Are you going to use, which way is the storm is coming? So does anybody remember Irma, that Hurricane Irma? Everybody left the East Coast and ran all the way to the West Coast. Anybody know how wide Florida is? Florida's not as wide as people think it is. It may take you 3 hours to go from one side to the other, but that system was so wide, Irma covered east through west, and she went straight up Florida. So again, and the reason I asked you about evacuations, so if you're thinking, what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump on 95 and head north. Or if you're thinking, how many other people are thinking the exact same thing? Exactly. So what you're going to create is a gridlock. And also remember, Martin County, how many counties are below us? Those same people are running up north, and you're going to run right into them as you're trying to get on 95 as well. So if you're talking about leaving the county, do it early. Yes, ma'am.
Also gas up.
Yes. Yes. That is one thing I would highly recommend, and right now, at the price of gas, Lord, I tell you, my tank never falls under half a tank, because you never know when you have to go anywhere. At least if I get a half a tank, I know I can make it north, probably to get close to Jacksonville. But if you're always sitting on E and it's time to evacuate, everybody's at the same gas stations that you are. Everybody's looking for the same thing there. So that's part of that pre-planning there. Think of another route, not just 95. You may have to learn some of your back roads, try to get to where you need to go. Yes, ma'am.
But when you say close the bridges, you're talking that, like this bridge right here, it's closed. You can't go over it.
You can't go over. So what happens at that time there? A law enforcement officer will be at the base of both of those inches, so you're not going over those bridges. No, ma'am. And if it's a tow bridge that goes up, they just lift it up in the air so no one can get over it anyway.
Your special needs shelters, you bring people there, how do you get them back home?
The same bus that brought them there, we got. Well, so we do assessments at Martin County here. So again, when all is clear, there's a team that comes in. They come from the building departments. They also come from the property appraisal site. And we split them up. I help organize this whole staff there, whole group here. And we're trying to do this while you are still in the shelter and getting a little impatient. But there's a process to everything. So this team, what they're doing, they're going out in the communities, telling us what they see. Currently at our fire department there, the guys and gals there, I instruct them, what I need from you, as soon as this die down, walk out that station, walk out your door to the fire station and tell me what you see. If everything is blown down, because most of our fire stations are within communities, if everything is flattened, we know we got a problem. If houses are standing up, you may see flooded water, stuff like that. That's what they're reporting to us immediately, so we can get this information out as well, so it keeps people safe. No, we know you don't want to stay in that shelter no longer than you have to, but sometimes you need to stay there for your safety. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
These buildings in here, is there like a rating of where they are, like if over a hurricane, Category 4 is coming, you need to evacuate, or how safe is everything in here? I know that's 50 years old, but it's great.
Okay. Okay, well, that one's not part for me. Anybody else? Okay, well, I really thank you for your time this morning here. If you think of any questions there, let Ms. Peggy know. She will email me. If you're looking for information, please let her know. She'll email me and I'll send all this information. But I'm leaving all these hands out for you. And you're welcome to contact us anytime. Thank you.